So let's suppose this is a street in which there are 5 houses inside of it and there are people living inside of it. The name for this particular street is Street A. And each house on this street has its house number, or you can say the position of the house. So here, this is the first house, this is the second house, the third one, the fourth, and the fifth house. Now, let's suppose that I want to meet every person inside all of these houses. So let's suppose I enter this neighborhood and I enter this particular street A. And I want to meet every person inside of this street living inside this home. So let's suppose I want to meet this first person right here. So I'm going to write first, I'm going to write this street name, which is Street A, along with brackets. Inside these brackets, there will be the house number. This will give me the access to the person living inside that house, which is this particular person right here. Now, once I've met this first person, now I want to meet the second person living inside the second house. So I'm going to just write the street name, Street A, inside the brackets. I'm going to write 2. This is going to give me access to this person. I'm going to meet this person. And the same way, if I want to meet this third person, I'm going to just change this number to 3, 4, and 5, and so on, depending on the size of the street. Now, here you have to remember that all the houses are next to each other, and I can't extend this street. This is a fixed size. If there are 5 houses, there are 5 houses in it. I can't include another one or delete another one. Now, let's suppose that I want to meet a friend of mine and I don't know her address. I just know that she lives in this street and I want to meet her. But I don't know where she lives exactly, whether here, or here. So basically, I have to first check all these houses in this street and check whether that person is my friend or not. So here, I really want to see that person that is living inside the house. So for this, I'm going to use the output keyword as well. This is going to give me the result of that particular function that I'm going to perform. Okay, so now I want to output Street A first position. This is going to give me this person right here, this. Now I'm going to check that this person is not my friend. So I'm going to move forward to the second one. So I'm going to write Street A, position 2. This is going to give me the element present inside the second position. Now I'm going to check. This is not my friend either. So let's go to the third house. Now after accessing the third element as well, I see this is not my friend. I go to the fourth position. So let's take this back in. And let's check this fourth house. So I'm going to write 4 here. Voila, I found my friend. So this is how I access elements inside a street with house. Now this process is very long for me to go manually inside each house and find a particular element. So in order to do this in computer science in more efficient way, we use loops. So here let's say I want to find my friend again, but this time I'm going to use loops. So I'm going to use a keyword for, then I'm going to use the house number. Now there are a total of 5 house numbers, so I'm going to start from first house number till to fifth one. This means that you have to go from first to fifth all by yourself. We are not doing this manually. The computer is doing this. using loops. Now, in order to check if that person is my friend or not, we are going to use condition statements, which is if this location has my friend, like wait. So let me first write if. Now here, if street A, this is the name of this street. In this, I'm going to write house number. This means that it is going to first input 1 here, then it's going to check, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And even like that, if I have 1,000 number of houses, it's going to do it all by itself. So if this is equal to this person that I want to find, I'm going to put an equals to sign here. If street and this particular house number has this person, then you have to output your friend is found, whatever. So this is basically how arrays work. Now we are going to see everything using arrays and numbers, not people, houses, and street. So now let's talk in terms of array. So basically this is an array, which is a contiguous block of memory, which means in which I can put elements inside this array next to each other, like the first position, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And this is of a fixed size, and all of the elements should be of the same type. Like in the previous example, in every house, a person lived, right? Like all the people were of the same type, they were human beings. So here, for example, now I want to keep the elements of integer type 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They can be any kind of numbers. And this array can have a name as well. Now, for example, I want to name this array as numbers. And in order to access now, for example, now let me really change the numbers. And now each number here have its position. This is now this number 42, it's like present on the first position, like this. This number 86 is present in the second position of the array. This is on the third, this is on the fourth and fifth. So if I want to access this 42, I would just write numbers and then 1. And the same way, if I want 86, I'm going to write numbers 2, numbers 3, numbers 4, numbers 5, and like that. And in order to first declare an array, first we are going to use the statement declare. Then we are going to type the array name, which in this case was numbers. After this, in brackets, we have to write the starting position, which is 1, and ending 5. And at last, we have to write that which type of data it is. Now, in this case, these are all numbers which are integers. So I'm going to declare them as integers. So this is basically how we declare a 1D array. Now, if I want to output all of these numbers, for example, this is my screen and I want to output all these numbers like 42, 86, 30, 40, 12. I wouldn't do it manually again and again. I won't write output numbers 1, output numbers 2, output numbers 3, and then so on. Because an array can be of any fixed size, like it can go up to thousands and like a lot of data. So for this, we would use the for loops for index. These are the index values, which means the position of that element in the array. It pinpoints the location of that element. For index 1 to 5, I want to output. Then you have to write the numbers, which is the array name. And inside this, you have to write index. Now, this is going to output all of the numbers inside your array, because we won't do this manually again and again. Numbers 1, numbers 2, numbers 3. This is going to repeat itself 5 times itself. First is going to go to the first index and access 42. Then is going to the second index and access 86, 30, and 40, and then 12. This is how we use 1D arrays using loops as well. Now, before we end this, let's first see how would we populate an empty array. Like, if we've given an array and I want to enter data inside of it and there's no data present in it, how would I do that? Now let's suppose that I want to ask people to enter their age, and once they enter their age, I want to store them inside this array. So first let's take an input from the user. So this array is of fixed size of 5. Okay, so this means that I can ask 5 people their age and enter 5 ages. So I would always use for loop, write the first position, last position from 1 to 5. First, I'm going to output the person to enter their age. Enter your age. And take this input, age. This means that whatever that person is going to enter is going to be stored in this variable age. Now, once we have everything, now I want to take this age and insert it in the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth position. So let's suppose the user enters 18. So what is basically going to happen that in this numbers array, or I could rename this array as ages. So in this age array, in the index position, I'm going to store this variable age. Now, for example, if the user had entered 18, this 18 is going to be stored in the first position. The second time it asks, for example, someone enters 24, then there will be 24 stored here, because this loop is going to run 5 times and the computer is going to ask the person 5 times the age. There will be 5 inputs, and in each index 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, this variable age is going to be stored, which is like 18, 24, etc. This is how we populate an array.